Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 49, Akrūra's mission in Hastinapur, Text 24. Swayam Kilbisham Adhaya Swayam Kilbisham Adhaya Taistakto Nartako Vidaha Asiddharto Vishati Andam Vishatyandam Swadharma Vimukas Tamaha Swadharma Vimukas Samaha Swayam Kilbisham Adaya Taistakto Nartako Vidaha Asiddharto Vishatya Andham Swadharma Vimuktas Tamaha. Swayam, for himself, Kilbisham, sinful reactions, Adaya, taking on, Tai, by them, Tyakta, abandoned, Na, not, Artha, the purpose of his life, Kovida, knowing properly, Asiddha, unfulfilled, Artha, whose goals, Vishati, he enters, Andam, blind, Swa, his own, Dharma, to the religious duty, Vimukaha, indifferent, Tamaha, darkness of hell. Translation. Abandoned by his so-called dependence, ignorant of the actual goal of life, indifferent to his real duty, and having failed to fulfill his purposes, the foolish soul enters the blindness of hell, taking his sinful reactions with him. Purport. It is sadly ironic that materialistic persons who labor so assiduously to accumulate insurance, security, property, and family enter the darkness of hell equipped with nothing but the painful reactions of their sins. On the other hand, those who cultivate Krishna consciousness, spiritual life, while apparently neglecting to accumulate property, a large family, and so on, enter the next life enriched with so many spiritual assets and thus enjoy the deep pleasures of the soul. Translation. Next verse. Therefore, O king, looking upon this world as a dream, a magician's illusion or a flight of fancy, please control your mind with intelligence and become equipoised and peaceful, my lord. Translation. Dhṛtarāṣṭra said, O master of charity, I can never be satisfied while hearing your auspicious words. Indeed, I am like a mortal who has obtained the nectar of gods. Purport. In the opinion of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, Dhṛtarāṣṭra was in fact proud and felt he already knew everything. Akrūra was speaking, but to maintain diplomatic gravity, he spoke as a saintly gentleman. So, Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desitarine Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapatantikam Vancha Kalpatarobhyascha Kripa Sindhupya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. So Akrūra has gone to meet Dhṛtarāṣṭra by the instructions of the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord is already planning. He's in Mathura, but he's already planning for the Mahabharata war. And as a first step, he wants to give a chance to Dhṛtarāṣṭra as the elder of the clan, who was actually the acting king at that time, to see whether he would be willing to do the right thing. So Akrūra came to him, and he was talking to Dhṛtarāṣṭra, and he told him that you have now assumed the royal throne after Pandu has gone. As such, Dhṛtarāṣṭra should have been the king because he is elder to Pandu, but he was born blind. Therefore, according to the Shastric injunctions, he cannot be king. So Duryodhana, who was the son of Dhṛtarāṣṭra, should have become the king after Dhṛtarāṣṭra. But since Dhṛtarāṣṭra didn't become a king, he also cannot become a king. But he is the eldest son of the eldest brother. So that was always rankling in his heart. And because the rest of the people are not in line for the throne, but they became in line for the throne, Pandavas, because Pandu had become the king. And he died, and Dhṛtarāṣṭra again became a caretaker king. And Duryodhana was thinking, why should I not become king now? Why should I give this kingdom to somebody else? And these are very deep emotions. So Duryodhana could never adjust to the fact that Dharma Shastras, whatever they say, must be perfect. And Dhṛtarāṣṭra also had great affection for his sons, and he was thinking, if I can't become a king, at least my sons should become the king. He definitely had a partiality. So Vidura came and said that you are the king, and the king is supposed to be very neutral. You're following? Good. Which class you're studying? 9th. Very nice. So this is a typical situation in the material world, and he was bewildered. One cannot solve how to act, the problem of how to act properly in the material world, unless one is fully committed to following the path of Dharma. So Vidura told Dhṛtarāṣṭra, as a king, you are supposed to be equal to everybody. Indirectly saying that you should be equal to Pandavas, Pandu's sons, as much as you are attached to your own sons. And in the material world, people don't like to be given good instructions. People don't like to be given good instructions. So Srila Prabhupada always quotes Chanakya Pandit, who says the sign of a murk is that when given good instructions, he will get angry. But Dhṛtarāṣṭra was, coming from the royal family, was very diplomatic. So he externally assumed a very humble position. And he told Akrūra, you're talking words that are like nectar. It's wonderful. I can just go on hearing this, but I don't have time. nor do I have interest. And so he was effectively rejecting. So Vidura could understand. He said, all right, Lord Krishna asked me to go and find out what is his mood. I found out because he spoke diplomatic words, you'll see it later, which essentially said that जो कुछ होएगा होएगा इसमें क्या बस. So I will do what I want, they will do what they want, and whatever is to happen will happen. Maybe there will be a fight, we'll see. So Dhṛtarāṣṭra was given a very early chance, and then he was telling Akrūra to Dhṛtarāṣṭra that in the material world, if you act without following Dharma Shastra, then you will have to go to the lowest region, Tama, of darkness. So, in general, it is not possible to follow the Dharma because there is no end to Dharma. If you do one thing, right thing, and then it will say, yeah, but you should. And then if you do that, but you have to do, but there's endless rules and regulations are there, endless. Manu Samhita is full of such prescriptions, and no one in the material world can live entirely virtuously. This is because the three modes of nature are always mixed in the material world. So even the most saintly person, almost in the mode of goodness, will have tamagun and rajagun mixed, and they will act. Have you heard of the words tamagun, rajagun, satagun? Anybody? No. So, आपका birthday है आज. So, I will explain a little bit because this is a very important part of Shastra. And without actually understanding the three modes of nature, of course, at least we should understand, we may not understand. It's very difficult to get out of material existence. Okay? You're following? So there are three modes of, three guna. How many? One is mode of goodness, another is mode of passion, and the third is mode of ignorance. You follow? So just like right now we see, this is made of metal, this is made of wood, this is made of cushion, that is some foam, that is made of cloth, right? There's so many kinds of material substances from which the world we perceive is made. Follow? But ultimately, what is it made of? Scientists have one theory about atoms and all that. We won't worry about that. So according to Bhagavatam, the world is made of three modes of nature. Like you have wood, cloth, like that. The fundamental substances are three. So you can imagine. And these three modes of nature is 24 levels higher than gross material elements. We are talking about wood and all that. Wood, cloth, metal. This is not even gross. It's very, so in science, so this wood, this and that are what we experience, and behind that, they have idea that, there are 112 chemical elements and all that. That is not even the beginning of Vedic knowledge. The beginning of Vedic knowledge is whatever you call wood, cloth, metal. Behind that, there are 5 elements. Panchabhuta. You have heard of Panchabhuta, isn't it, sir? No. So, Panchabhuta Gunatmikam. So, beginning from Panchabhuta up to Gunas. So, the world is made of Panchabhuta. And we have to first understand Panchabhuta. Then there are another 5 elements called perceiving senses. Then another 5 elements, these are elements called working senses. These are ingredients of matter. And then there is tanmatras, and then is mind, intelligence, false ego, then mahatattva. And in mahatattva, you have the 3 gunas. So very complicated. Right now, nobody even understands the Panchabhutas. So the scientific work I am doing is to bring the idea of Panchabhutas within science, scientifically. Then slowly we can understand the other elements. So these 3 gunas, we don't even know what they are. And when they mix 3 into 3, they become 9. And then again you mix the 3 things, 27. Again you mix it, 81. Again you mix 264. Mix. Then millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of mixtures of 3 gunas are there. So just like if you take water, we say actually there is hydrogen and oxygen. Like that in all the things we see, actually there is 3 gunas. So these 3 gunas are never pure. You cannot separately. So your body is made of 3 gunas. According to whether you are in the mode of passion or ignorance or goodness, you will act. Your mind is made of 3 gunas. This object is made of 3 gunas. But from there, again, like I said, there are many other elements up to gross elements. So, but the main point I'm trying to say is that before creation is made, the material energy is created by Vishnu. Vishnostu trini rupani purushakyani ato viduhu ekanto mahato srishtir. The first Vishnu creates Mahat, material energy. It's a science. And whoever knows this, he'll become liberated. It's Rigveda Satvata Tantra, verse Prabhupada quotes. Ekanto Mahato Srishti, Dutiyam Andasamsitam. The second one actually enters into each universe. Tritiyam Samsta Bhutva. The third Vishnu is entering the heart of everybody as Paramatma. So Hindus have this idea of Paramatma, Bhagavan, but Paramatma is only the one who has entered all the bodies. Above that is the one who has entered all the universes. He is known as the Paramatma of the planets. And then there is someone who has created the material energy. He is the Paramatma of all the universes. So 3 Paramatmas are there. And the Vishnu, Mahavishnu, he creates the material energy, Mahatattva. Krishna does not directly get involved in it. And the Mahavishnu is an expansion of Krishna. So, when he creates, and then even when Brahma is empowered to create, first the 3 modes come, and then Brahma mixes them. And he makes matter which is already mixed. So the mixing of 3 elements is before creation. So no one can be purely in Satogun. Whereas devotees, by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, the devotees can get established in Visuddha Tattva. Suddha and Vishuddha. Vishesha. V means Vishesha. So, Visuddha Sattva is beyond the 3 modes of nature. It is even beyond mode of goodness. And it is pure. It is the consciousness in which Vasudeva can arise. Vasudeva can arise. That consciousness is called Vasudeva, pure consciousness. And Krishna arises, it is said, like the moon comes out of the ocean, or the sun arises from the ocean. Like that, Krishna arises in the pure consciousness of the living entity. So, this is a great science. And so, when we are I was going to say that because we are contaminated, and what to speak of, so as even Brahma and the demigods, they have three modes of nature mixed in. And Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that no one in the material world is free of the three modes of nature. Then, what to speak of us? We, maybe somebody like me is fully in the Tamagun and Rajagun, and little bit of Satugun. So this is the position of the living entities, and especially in Kali Yuga, Tamagun ka prabhav zyada ho gaya. So everybody is doing things. Anichayanapi. Arjuna is asking Krishna, why am I doing things even though I don't feel like doing? Because the modes of nature are acting. You see? So when people cannot see that because it's extremely subtle. So people drink, they eat meat, and they have illicit connections completely all the time. So this will take people to the hellish condition of life, and they do not know that, and Akrūra says they don't care, indifferent. Whatever will happen, will happen. And Dhṛtarāṣṭra is saying the same thing to Akrūra. Jo kuch hoega, hoega. What is a big philosophy and all that? Whatever you are saying is right, but Prabhu, जो कुछ हम करने का वो कोई करेंगे बस. So Dhṛtarāṣṭra is explicitly saying it, but most of the living entities, they are implicitly saying, they don't care. When the time of death comes, you see, they know that Tamagun is enveloping all my activities, and it's like they can see it's going, it's taking me down. ठीक है, क्या कर सकता है? This is the mood of the dying living soul. Then he goes to another body. So Akrūra is pointing that out, and Dhṛtarāṣṭra confirms it by saying the same thing. कुछ नहीं कर सकता. नहीं, it is not like कुछ नहीं कर सकता है. You can save yourself. So it is very rarely that a person can actually understand his existential position. They cannot understand. So Srila Prabhupada established at least the Sankirtana movement following Lord Chaitanya's vision, and all the devotees are, very kindly preaching. So they are doing kirtan in the temple. So the temple, when people come, they can hear, because they don't otherwise care. At least they come by piety. And if not, devotees go on the street and they are chanting, they are distributing books like that. So it is because people do not care. They do not care because they cannot care. And they cannot care because the influence of Rajagun and Tamagun are occupying everybody's life and thought process. But externally, it is very difficult to see that. Like Dhṛtarāṣṭra is a royal king. He was the king of the whole planet. And he spoke such wonderful words. Your words are like, it makes me feel like I'm drinking nectar, amrita from the demigods. He's speaking like that. It's very nice. But he is completely, Akrūra is indicating, you are completely under the control of Tamagun and Rajagun. And you are going to the darkest region. Of course, later on, Dhṛtarāṣṭra went to the mountains, and he did tapasya, and by the yogic prowess, he was actually born as a royal king, the first son in the dynasty. So it's not ordinary thing. He cannot be born like that. So he was very powerful, and he by the yogic fire he produced. He, in the Prabhupada writes in the purport that he got impersonal liberation. But there is a morning walk in which Srila Prabhupada said that Dhṛtarāṣṭra went back to Godhead. So one devotee told Prabhupada in the morning walk, I remember hearing this tape long time ago, 81 or something like that. But I still remember. And he said, but Srila Prabhupada in the first canto purport, he have said that he has got impersonal liberation. And Prabhupada said, that's all right. He went back to Godhead. So I was thinking that if Dhṛtarāṣṭra didn't go at that time to Godhead, so when Prabhupada said he must definitely be going. So in any case, because that is possible. The pure devotee's words, whatever they say, will become true. You see? I think many of you know the story of the milk woman and Ramanujacharya, that when Ramanujacharya in Kanchipuram, he went to the temple, Varadaraja temple, and once he was going at noon, Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. When the noon he went, Shri Shri Radha Ras Bihari Lalita Vishaka ji ki Jai, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshmanaman ki Jai. So he was entering and he realized that he forgot to take the milk for offering. So he had a lot of disciples. He told one of them, there is one milk lady there. Tamil we call them Palkari. And go and get some milk from her. And the disciple went and he got some milk from her. And Ramanujacharya went and he offered the milk to the Lord. And means Acharya is there. So every day they know he comes. They received him respectfully. Then when he was coming out, he suddenly remembered. So he told his disciple, so for that milkmaid, you give some little money. 1 anna or 1 paisa, whatever in those days was there. So the disciple went and told her, here, kitna paisa dene ka doodh ke liye? She said, paisa nahi lenge. So he went and told Ramanujacharya, she's not taking paisa. Then Ramanujacharya said, but she gave milk. I have to pay something to her. So ask her what she wants. So he went again and said, he is asking, what do you want? And she said, wo chitti mein likh ke dena do. He said, let him write a little chitti that when I die, I should be admitted to Vaikuntha. See, she's so intelligent. In other words, it was not achanak nahi hua that she was sitting there and Krishna made forget milk. So he came and said, she wants a chit. So Ramanujacharya is thinking, now abhi dena padega. Doodh to liya. So he gave her a chit. ठीक है, paper दे दो. Admit one, Vaikuntha. ऐसी भक्त, Ramanujacharya. Sign करके दे दिया. So and he went and gave it to that lady. And she, sari के, उसमें रख दिया. And when she died, the plane from Vaikuntha came and she went back. So that is the power of the pure devotee. So Dhṛtarāṣṭra anyway was like that. But at this point of time, he was actually completely under the influence of Tamagun. And he was saying, now how are people going to understand when we are preaching? You see? So it is not possible to see the 3 modes of nature. It is not even possible to see the gross elements. There is fire element here. Do we see fire? No. You see, gross elements we are supposed to see. But we see wood. Why we see wood? Because we are seeing using this eye. We are seeing wood. But to see the five elements, you have to use the sense of sight, which is behind the eye. Just like I have a glass, the glass is not seeing, although I'm seeing, my eye is seeing. That's what scientists think. But according to Bhagavatam, eye is not seeing. Behind the eye, there is a sense of sight that is seeing. So we must at least become pratyahara. We must become unhinged, disconnected from at least the external senses, so that we can use our five senses, indriya, jnanendriya, and see the five. But people don't know. And that science is coming. So Lord Chaitanya is, first of all, is so kind, he is going to teach all people who have got no qualifications to be able to see the five elements, because it's going to come through science. And that's a separate topic. That's the work I'm doing. So in order to actually, so in the one of the limbs of yoga is pratyahara. Ashtanga yoga, 8 elements are there, steps. Yama, niyama, pratyahara. Pratyahara means withdrawing your senses. First yama and niyama, following the rules and regulations. Yama and niyama. We must come to the platform of pratyahara. This is there for us also as devotees. Sucho Deshe Ekante, Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita how to do Ashtanga Yoga. You must go to a clean place, you must sit quietly, and you must, chant, then do pranayam like that. All these processes are there in chanting Hare Krishna also. So chanting of Hare Krishna is a very serious business. After long 44 years, I'm only now realizing this. Otherwise, I used to just, chant here, there, walking, this, that. Chanting is an extremely serious process. So we sit there and properly, and the pranayam is there, and you have to do, we are separately doing anulom, vinulom like that, but in chanting it's all included. So you Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. You have to. It is a very serious process. And when we chant, we cannot be inattentive. Because it's one of the 10 offenses, right? It's also an offense to be inattentive while chanting. Inattentive means failing to actually do pratyahara. So as you chant, the more we withdraw. Chanting is a very simple but sublime process in which you can actually withdraw the senses for which the yogis are trying for millions of years, simply by focusing on that mantra. The mantra is not to be broken. You can't say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. No, it's one mantra fully. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. No gap. And you have to chant, the tongue has to be there. Sevan Mukehi Jihwadav. The tongue, Prabhupada in Chaitanya Charitamrita says, just like boxers are, punching bag. They are punching. Prabhupada says punching bag. Similarly, the devotee must train with his tongue. This is our training, like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. This is the most important aspect of Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada writes in Bhagavatam, if there is one instruction of the spiritual master which is most important, It is the instruction to chant 16 careful rounds of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This is the most important point, So that process we must follow. And if we don't, if we do not follow and we do not get pratyahara, we will never separate ourselves from the body, subtle body and the gross body, and therefore the influence of the three modes of nature. So by chanting Hare Krishna, we are performing Ashtanga Yoga. We should never forget that. And when we do that, we can advance. So, but the ordinary class of people here, Akrūra is Vaishnava, is Paradukka Dukhi. So he is saying, people don't even know and they don't even care. And they are simply going to Tamisam. Mattirna Krishne Paratasvatova Mito Abhividyate Griham Pratanam Adanta Gopir Vishatam Tamisram Punas Sarvita Charvananam. You see? Mattirna Krishne, by our own exercise of subtle and gross body, you cannot learn Krishna consciousness. Paratasvatova, nor by this type of sitting and learning, unless we are very sincere. Matirna Krishna Paratasvatova Mito Abhividyate Grihavratanam. Grihavratanam means they have taken vrat, house. House in the Griha means house, when anything connected to the house, working, making money and all that. So in the material world, people are, you see in the Bombay, so many construction people buy flat in Girgaon, buy flat in Chowpatty, buy flat in Warsaw, buy flat here, there, and everybody is buying flats. Everybody wants, everything to be taken. So very standard, and the purport, that point is made, that people are thinking that they are acquiring assets, but when they die, nothing goes with them and they go to darkest region. But the devotees, they are not buying assets. They shouldn't be. Then, but when they die, they have all the assets accumulated because of, so either they go to highly, promoted planets, which is not a good thing, or they go to Goloka. I remember when I joined, there was one devotee from South Africa, Brahmachari. He was in Detroit temple, he was Pujari. One day he came out of the noon arti, after nobody was in the temple, I was there. And he came and said, I'm so worried, I hope I don't go to Brahmaloka after this life. I was thinking, going to Brahmaloka is not a simple thing, but he's worried that he'll go to Brahmaloka because he wants to go to Goloka. So he must be, I must have had some realization when he was on the altar. So he came and said like that. I still remember that. So as devotees, we don't want to go to even to heavenly planets because that's a punishment. So it is a very serious process. It's a very serious process. How are the ordinary people in the material world, how are they going to know? You see, it's very difficult. So even as devotees, we have to do a lot of tapasya, lot of very careful chanting all the time, kirtaniya sadaharihi, to understand finally that everything that happens externally, I've got nothing to do with it. It is here. Of course, Prabhupada said material world is real but temporary, but it is also said here that therefore, O king, looking upon this world as a dream, a magician's illusion, or a flight of fancy. So this world, Prabhupada also said, daydream, night dream, it's all dream. So we have to actually understand in what way the world is an illusion and in what way it is actually real. Both are correct. So sometimes I make the point that, I said the fact that the world is unreal does not mean the world is unreal. In the sense that if you are seeing a virtual reality, let's say you put all the mask and you see things that are not real. but that is made in the same world by all this equipment which are real. So the world is material, but still it is real in one sense. Of course, Vaishnavas accept matter is real, but its combinations that produce our experiences, that is not real. So these are all parts of yoga. In the yoga process, we have to understand all that, and bhakti yoga is also a yoga. So the process of how to make the conditioned souls understand it, because without this, nothing can happen. Even as devotees, I'm realizing I have to realize all of these things, otherwise I'm not going anywhere. Whatever I may claim, and then that's why I said at the end of it, still you have done service and you may go to heavenly planets. But what's the use? By the time you come back, Lord Chaitanya's movement is gone. Again, oh Krishna, this is the only chance. This life is the only chance for people to get out of the material world. Otherwise, ये चक्कर में ही जाना पड़ेगा. पुनरपि मननम, पुनरपि जननम, पुनरपि जठरे जननी शयनम. It's happening again and again and again. So we must understand the essence of Krishna consciousness is that it is a yoga. And the essence of yoga is that we must do pratyahara, we must free ourselves from material bondage. So this process of actually how to make the people in the world who cannot think about such things, these modes of nature, but Bhagavatam is full of such descriptions. Full. You will see every time, whoever is praying to the Lord, they will begin by saying, "Oh, my dear Lord, this world of three modes of nature, everything." There is never a question of, and first step in God realization by Shukadeva Goswami says, you have to understand God is everything. It is God's energy, and God is also there in everything as a person. Of course, in the temple we come and see Krishna. That's the beginning. Lord Kapila says that one who sees Krishna only in the temple and nowhere else is a neophyte. So the next stage is to see Krishna everywhere in matter. So first seeing Krishna in matter is important. So how to see Krishna in matter, that's a separate lecture. We can talk about it later. So these points are all there. It's a very important meditation devotees should have, and they have. How can we save the conditioned souls? That's why devotees are preaching. If you see in the temple, so many preaching activities are going on. Why? Because devotees are concerned how to actually, but we should not, we have to also personally preach ourselves. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, even if there is nobody, then sit and preach to yourself. And he said, preach to the four walls of a room. So this process of self-introspection, how can I actually advance better? That of course comes from sadhu sangha, adav shraddha tata sadhu sangha. And that sadhu means actually one who, anyway, that's a separate matter. So we have to associate with each other, and we have to bodhayantas parasparam, we have to enlighten each other. That is why we have classes, everybody is speaking. And the entire purpose is, please don't forget this, there's only one purpose, which is that you have to de-link yourself from the material energy. That is your business. Do not think it will happen automatically. Tivrena bhakti yogena ejeta purusham. Tivra means intense. And that intense comes from chanting. Intensely. Most important process, chanting Hare Krishna. So, Akrūra is giving this instruction to everybody. Bhagavatam, that instruction is there because it is meant for everyone. And what a great puzzle this material energy is. Bhavajaladi Magadam. Bhavajaladi means the ocean of birth and death. Each wave is one birth and one death, and it's carrying the soul. And who is mistakenly thinking, I am born, I am dying, but he is unborn. And he is undying. Najayate mriyate va kadachit. Bhava Jaladi Magadam, Dustaram Nistareyam. Nistareyam means to cross, Dustaram means very difficult. Bhava Jaladi Magadam, Dustaram Nistareyam. Same, very difficult. Katamahamiti Cheto, Masmaga Kataratvam. Katamahamiti. How am I going to? That itself, people are not thinking. But if you actually understand, you will think, Katamahamiti. भाई ये इतना बड़ा भवसागर से मैं कैसे इसके पार जा सकता है? Very difficult. Katamahamiti cheto masmaga kataratvam. Don't worry about that. Sarasija drishi deve tavaki bhakti reka. Sarasija drishi, that is the lotus-eyed Lord, and you do bhakti eka. Eka means one-pointed bhakti, not many-pointed bhakti. We should be very careful. We should examine what are all the motivations I have. Complete renunciation is required. Do not accumulate anything. Balana kabo. Jagannath who is saying, don't eat well and don't dress well. This is a very, and you must all be renounced. We must be renounced. Sarasija Drishi Deve Bhakti Reka, one-pointed, nothing else. Tavaki, Sarasija Drishi Deve Tavaki Bhakti Reka Naraka Bidi Nishanna Tarayishya Tavasyam Tarayishyati Avasyam. Avasyam means necessarily. In other words, if you actually chant Hare Krishna properly and simply say, try to understand the Bhagavatam and say that this is what I want, nothing else, then necessarily it will liberate you. Necessarily. Once Srila Prabhupada said, you keep chanting, whether you want to go back to Godhead or not, Krishna will take you back. But the chanting means Tivra Bhakti. So Akrūra is telling Dhṛtarāṣṭra, he is not listening. And he is such a great king. So we should not allow our mind to be like Dhṛtarāṣṭra, that we don't listen, even though Bhagavatam is telling. Akrūra is telling means Bhagavat. There is person Bhagavat, there is book Bhagavat. The person Bhagavat is speaking book Bhagavat, and the book Bhagavat is speaking about person Bhagavat. That's all, there's nothing else. So, Bhagavatam is speaking, I don't want my mind to be like Dhṛtarāṣṭra and cheat me. I shouldn't think, no. So the nectar of Krishna consciousness must be tasted. Any questions or comments? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for the nice class, especially the point about Dhṛtarāṣṭra going back to Godhead. First time I'm hearing.
Which one?
The point about Dhṛtarāṣṭra going back to Godhead.
Yeah.
One comment and one question.
Yeah.
In this verse, Mito Matirna Krishna, Srila Vishwanath Thakur writes that one should not aspire to go to heavenly planets because they are simply prostitute houses.
They are simply
Prostitute houses.
prostitute bunk.
Houses.
Houses. Yes.
Initially you said that Brahma, did Brahmaji create three modes of nature, or they are already there and then he mixed them? How do you understand?
The pradhana is the original state of matter. Even the Greeks have this idea, materia prima, primal matter, right? Coming from Vedas. So that pradhana is created by, but actually it says ekanto mahato srishtir. So in pradhana, everything is in equilibrium. So then, when it is churned by time energy, the three modes of nature come, and it is called Mahat Tattva. And it is very difficult to understand because Pradhana is not known, Mahat Tattva is not known. We don't know what is three modes of nature. Right. So, the three modes of nature, when they come out, it's called Mahat. Ekanto Mahato Srishti. So I have to think that, Brahma, so matter is definitely there already. Brahma doesn't create material energy.
So Pradhana comes from Mahavishnu, or
Ah,
Pradhana comes from
because he cannot create Mahat without Pradhana. So he carries matter with him. Actually, matter means, from a higher viewpoint, all the living entities who have got desire to be independent of Krishna. So he is bringing all of them, Mahavishnu, and Bhagavatam says that it is like poison. Therefore, Mahavishnu's body is slightly bluish. So we are like poison for Krishna. Matlab, not a devotees, but material world, but we also have to be very careful. So, Nilkanta is Lord Shiva. He took Alahala poison only here it became blue. The Lord brings, so it's very kind. Who will bring? So, Mahavishnu is doing the seva for Krishna and he's bringing, and he has got a deep personal relation with Krishna because Krishna is the original Adyam Purusham. And that you can see in the pastimes of Narayanas are all coming from Lord Balram, and Lord Balram is Lord Nityananda, and one of the Narayanas becomes Mahavishnu, and Mahavishnu is Advaita Acharya. So therefore, if you ask the question, how will Narayana and will interact with Krishna? You want to know. You can see the pastimes of Lord Nityananda and Advaita along with Lord Chaitanya. So Krishna is also a hero for them. So what is Krishna is Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arasa Bhritya. In the Krishna book, Prabhupada writes that Balram is saying that myself and Lakshmi ji also, we are servants of Krishna. What to speak of others? So it is not such a simple thing. So yes, material energy is already created by Mahavishnu, and bad smell. And that Brahma gets the power to manipulate this material energy. Very subtle. And that comes down to every living entity. Every living entity gets the power to manipulate material energy. Everybody according to his position. Krishna gives. Otherwise, but how is the tree standing on the ground? After some time, nice mango is coming. Are? How did he produce this mango? He's a very clever guy. Shakti. So Prabhupada in one morning walk, I heard him say that every living entity has some mystical power. The tree has the mystical power to produce mango. Another time he said that Angani yasya sakalendriya vritti. Krishna can, see with his legs and eat with his eyes. And he can also eat with his legs, he said. And this is not very difficult to understand because the tree is only one leg and he's drinking water. He has got so many roots. So if a tree can actually drink with his leg, why not Krishna? That's the kind of logic that I cannot have. So Brahma gets the power to manipulate, and even he doesn't know how it is happening. Like we are doing so many activities, but we don't know how it is done. It's a very great science. But Brahma himself knows that he doesn't know. When talking about cosmology, Prabhupada wrote a letter that as far as the world creation is there, even Brahma doesn't know. But here are my realizations. It says, even Brahma doesn't know how the world is created. He is creating Like in the temple, we organize a Rath-yatra. We don't know how everything happens. Finally, everything happens pakka. That's we are only instruments. Nimitta matram bhavasave sachin. So Brahma is also a nimitta, but Mahavishnu is the cause. He's the source of everything.
Prabhupada says that because we are covered with 24 elements, everybody, some universe, we are something like that.
Huh?
We are all carrying one universe, something.
Carrying on?
One universe, because we are covered with 24 elements.
Yeah, you can say like that.
What does that?
That is, I've quoted before a song. Anuvinal agandamagi, anuvile agandamagi, adilumagi, idilumagi, amayamurtiye. In Tamil, they have songs that sound pretty good. Anuvinal agandamagi. Anu means atom, agandam means prapancham. World, universe is created of atoms. Anuvile agandamagi. And inside the atom also, all the elements are there. So the universe is always reflected. That is the idea of yoga also. The human bodies, they actually compare it to the universe, and which various chakras corresponding to various planetary systems. So these things are there, but in Kali Yuga, who can understand such things? So we have to just chant Hare Krishna and understand Bhagavatam. And in the Bhagavatam, everything is given in such a nice way that we can understand something. Everything, the great sages, they knew these points that you are saying, that the body is also prapancham. That is definite. The body is not different from prapancham. It has all the varieties of the universe. All the varieties of the universe. It is. So from this he can extract everything that he can get from the universe. Krishna is so kind. Everybody. But who can do it? And then if we try to get involved in doing that, we'll miss the goal of Krishna consciousness. But yes, you're right. Good point.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, please.
What is contaminated consciousness? Among the 24 elements, that was the last one. Huh?
This requires separate lecture. But I'll just say one thing that you can take home as a homework. Suppose I make a statement. I see a brown table. This is a sentence. So it has got how many words? I see brown table. So table is an object. Brown is sensations coming from tanmatras. See is coming from Gyanendriya. And I, person perceiver. Out of this words, I see brown table. I see brown table. Not 4 words are there. Tell me which is coming from consciousness of the soul. Which word?
I.
So the first step in understanding Bhagavad Sankhya is that none of this come from soul. All of them come from matter. I is coming from false ego.
Okay.
That is the beginning. So, and then it has to be very systematically described. But I agree with you. It is not so easy to understand what is meant by contaminated consciousness there. So I don't think I know. But I can say some other things so that the fact that I don't know can be covered. And that I say a lot. Already I said one thing. But the simple answer is I don't know.
Hare
It's
Krishna.
a very advanced topic. I have not so far had any realization.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Despite trying, I also know that verse and I've meditated on it because it's required for my scientific work.
Thank you very much for the nice class. You made a very nice point that the matter is made of Panch Mahabhut, but we cannot see. So I appreciated this point, and I think because of that, Arjuna was given the Divya Chakshu. Arjuna, while seeing the material universe, the material form, universal form, so the Lord gave him the Divya Chakshu. So is that because of that? Because we cannot perceive the reality of the matter.
Yeah,
Our
I
ordinary
actually
senses.
have a YouTube video, short 3-minute video. Scientists cannot understand matter. You can also hear that. So I can make a commercial break on advertisement. So you can go to my, on your phone, you can go to my, anybody has not subscribed, please go to YouTube and put Dhṛtarāṣṭra. You get my name and you can subscribe to that. So scientists cannot understand matter, but in school and college, we all learn that science explains matter. Gravity, force, acceleration, velocity, mass, electric field, magnetic field, right? You studied in engineering, you must have thought that we are trying to understand matter. But scientists know that they cannot understand matter. What science can do is to come up with a conception, a mathematical conception, which can allow us to manipulate perceived matter. But matter itself, they know they cannot understand. I've explained that. It's not a news for scientists. Scientists know that. Scientists know that they cannot study matter. So somebody, a great atheist like Stephen Hawking said, all there are in science is meter readings. And what does he mean by that? That's a separate class. So coming to your question, Divya Chakshu is another thing I don't know. No harm in saying. I'm not Acharya, I don't know everything. So we are all, I'm a beginner, so I know a little bit. So that Divya Chakshu is that he could see the universal form of the Lord with millions of hands and millions of legs and everything. That's a special thing. Otherwise, Arjuna could see the elements. Not only he could see, he could manipulate. He's a person who could go to heavenly planets just like that.
These 5 elements are appeared in the so many variety of things, like a gold, diamond, so many tables also, like a diesel, petrol, so many variety of things. But these things also, the expansion of Lord. Somewhere mentioned, this material elements also, the expansion of Lord.
Yes.
But there is a difference and non-difference also.
Right.
So how we can understand this material elements is also non-different and difference also, and this comes in so many variety, so many tasted also, like you are putting chili and sugar cane, different form and different taste. How these things are coming, you can understand by this scientific knowledge can be possible.
As he is asking, Maharaj is asking that from the one mole's material substance, pradhana, so many varieties are coming. So many, everything is, even food, if you take, there is variety. There is sugar and there is chili. Like that. So he is saying, how are these varieties are coming from Krishna and how it is not different from Krishna and still different? That is his question. Again, on this, because I have done so much work, I can say so many things so that people can be fooled into thinking I know something. So this is a matter in which I know a lot more than even the other 2 questions. But long time ago, I gave a lecture in IIT in the 80s. So, IIT Bombay, I called it as, why is Gulab Jamun sweet? I gave a... So the sensible qualities of matter, because how do we know chili is different from sugar? Number 1, chili is green, sugar is white. Second thing, if you put sugar in the mouth, it's sweet. If you bite into chili, pani de do. So it is only by experience we can know the different things. So what actually the varieties we see is not in matter, but in experience. That's a very deep topic. So scientists have been thinking, well, philosophers and scientists, this variety is coming from where? It's a 2000-year history in the Western philosophy. It is known as the color problem, but it is also there for taste and smell and everything. The color problem, which means for every other variety, is the following. Is color in the table is brown? When we say table is brown, is it a description of how I see the table, or it is how the table is? So if you say the color is in the table, they said we cannot prove it because we can never measure color. Like you can measure weight or speed. You're going in the car, 60 miles an hour, you can measure speed. There is no instrument which can say, blue, red. Now, you can measure the frequency or the wavelength of the reflected light, and you can have a meter which says blue, but it's measuring wavelength, not color. So how does color come from? So they think it's experience. But if you say it is my experience, that's also a problem, because you're also seeing brown, I'm also seeing brown. So it cannot just be my experience. There must be something in the world, otherwise why everybody is seeing brown? So they have this idea of secondary qualities, dispositions and all that. But I gave the simple point. I'm not getting into deep science. I gave the simple point that when you read a book, when we were in college and all, James Bond books were very popular. It's a thriller book. You read the book, it's thrilling. But the book is only made of paper and ink, no? Kaisa thrilling? Book mein thrill kaisa aa gaya? The thrill is coming from the author, not from the book. So from the author through the book, it is coming. Similarly, gulab jamun is not sweet by itself. Actually, the sweetness is Krishna's sweetness coming through gulab jamun. So the chili is not hot by itself, but it is Krishna's. So Krishna is Gunasagara, is full of transcendental qualities. They are reflected in matter when matter is organized. Just like if you have simply some mercury and glass, you can't see yourself. But if you can manufacture a mirror, then you can see. So matter, just unorganized pradhana or even mahat, you cannot actually have qualities. So the creation is made so that Krishna's qualities can be perceived. Therefore he says, Rasoham apsa kaunteya. That is a solution to the color problem. Is the taste coming from water, or is it coming from my drinking water? Krishna says neither. Is the book thrilling by itself? No. Is the book is thrilling because I read the book? No. It is coming because of the author. So Krishna says, everything is coming from me through matter. So creation is nothing but a way of organizing matter such that Krishna can be revealed. So Krishna is trying to conceal himself, but he cannot. He's everything. So that Krishna, whose qualities we are perceiving in matter, is simultaneously one and different. Now, simultaneously one and different has another idea, which is connected to the idea Shakti Shaktiman Veda. That's a very long topic. Just a little bit on this. We'll stop here. Dhṛtarāṣṭra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Premanandi.